Well, nothing says California more than sky-high gas prices. So today, I visited the most expensive gas station in the state, and quite possibly the nation. Now, there's no official database for that exact figure, but for about 99.9% of you watching this video, this is the highest you've ever seen gas prices in your life. That is, unless you lived in California during the pandemic. See, back during the pandemic years of 2022 and 2023, California was home to some of the highest gas prices in the entire country. And it still is, by the way. But back then, it was pretty ridiculous. In many parts of Los Angeles, it was not uncommon to see $6, $7, and even $8 per gallon gas prices for months on end. And if you had to commute long distances in the city, like most people do, that meant adding hundreds of dollars every month to your budget, just for the same old gas that cost half these prices before the pandemic. This is how much power oil companies have in the US, and especially in cities like LA. In cities with lackluster alternate modes of transportation, the people truly are at the whims of every Chevron, every Shell, and every Arco station on the road. Starting in 2024, gas prices slowly started crawling down from $7 to $6 to $5, now to somewhere around $4.50 per gallon on average in the state. But even that is really ridiculously high as the new normal compared to the rest of the country. Here is a list of the current gas price averages in the counties of the 10 biggest cities in the US as of the making of this video. And now I suddenly understand why San Antonio is the fastest growing metro area in the US, and the only city on this list without any light rail, streetcar, or people mover. Why invest in that when your gas prices are so low, and Texas's car-centric culture and infrastructure is healthier than ever before? But here in Los Angeles, you get both bad car infrastructure and no good alternates, and the highest taxes in the nation too. Isn't it all just wonderful? As you can see from Los Angeles and San Diego, the financial burden of filling up a car is no joke. Just another thing that makes living in Southern California increasingly stressful and difficult for the average person living paycheck to paycheck. But it's not just Southern California. Northern California has it even worse. I mean, just look at some of these numbers. Mono County is damn near double the national average. That's crazy. But all of this is peanuts to my local gas station and what is probably the nation's most expensive gas station at any given time, this Chevron on East Cesar E. Chavez Avenue and Alameda Street in downtown Los Angeles. And the reasons for this phenomenon are actually pretty strange, and mostly depressing in the end. Let's get into it. But if you're new here, this is Fourth Place, your place to learn about US geography, urbanism, transportation, and city planning. For locals, this Chevron located in the middle of the oldest settled area in Los Angeles has always been notorious for its higher than average prices. Thanks to Google Maps, we can go back and look throughout the years to see just how high these prices were in relation to the average prices that year. These numbers are really staggering. In March of 2018, it was nearly $5 a gallon. That's well over California's current averages almost 7 years ago. I especially enjoy going back to April of 2009, Obama's fourth month in office, when the gas station prices resemble the averages of Dallas this year. But just how does this station in particular get away with it? Well, a major factor here is location. It's located right off the 101 in DTLA, the slowest, most CO2 producing section of highway in downtown. At any given hour of the day, cars are moving at a snail's pace here and burning lots of fuel in the process. The location gets even more important from there, as it's located off the 101 on the way to Dodger Stadium, on a main thoroughfare, further increasing demand during certain times of the year, and with the Dodgers yet again in the World Series, this Chevron is probably rooting for them the most. But the demand further compounds, as it's also surrounded by government buildings at every turn. Perhaps the most important of these government buildings is just across the street, Los Angeles' Union Station. Now, once you arrive at LA Union Station, unlike Penn Station or Chicago Union Station, here you really can't get to places most visitors want to go via the city's limited light rail lines. There are no lines from Union Station to Beverly Hills, West Hollywood, UCLA, LAX, Venice, SoFi Stadium, or Dodger Stadium. So a lot of people are either going to Uber around or rent a car, which Union Station is plenty prepared for. And I'll give you one guess where those unwitting tourists are most likely to fill up on their way out of Union Station. I have a feeling a lot of people just stop here and say, well, I guess that's LA, and fill up their rental car without hesitation, only to drive off, passing stations between $4 and $5. Which, like I said, is still pretty high. And if they didn't want to fill up here, they're going to have to drive a while to find another gas station, which leads directly into the next reason why this Chevron is able to get away with their high prices. It's the only gas station in most of downtown Los Angeles, besides this tucked away shell in Chinatown, which isn't on any main road, and you'd really have to look and find that alternative. More on that in a second. During my field research for this video, I went inside the Chevron and asked the only employee on duty if she had any idea why this gas station's prices are so high. Maybe the manager slipped up and told her one drunken night. But she coyly played the old, I'm just an employee, what do I know charade, which I feel like is a bad excuse if you're the only employee at America's most expensive gas station. Furthermore, she defended the place and implored me to go visit that very shell in nearby Chinatown as proof that the Chevron's prices aren't really that outrageous, and might even be a few cents cheaper than that shell in Chinatown, which would make it America's most expensive gas station. Probably. And so I did. And predictably, it was all just propaganda. The shell is cheaper by a whole $1. So, as it seemed, I was going to have to figure out on my own just why this place was so uniquely expensive. So far, we have its location, convenience, and proximity to Union Station. But Union Station is just one government-funded source of demand where this Chevron really makes its money. This place is by far the most convenient choice to fill up for so many government employees. Just look at the amount of government buildings down the road from this place. They're all clustered here in the north part of DTLA, from the City Hall to some IRS towers, to public works buildings, federal courthouses, water and power headquarters, and even federal detention centers. All of these places are home to hundreds, if not thousands, of state and federal vehicles driven by state and federal employees who, while filling up on the job, aren't looking for the cheapest prices in town like you and I. They just need a quick fill up on Uncle Sam's dime. And there are so many parking lots in Los Angeles just storing hundreds of government vehicles, and they're really not hard to find. In a way, we are subsidizing these gas prices. If you think about it, taxpayers are effectively funding this Chevron's entire business model and clientele, and they can charge as much as they want because it's not coming out of the government employees' pockets, but the bottomless pits of cash Sacramento and DC are able to waste away. And that fact, that taxpayers are by and large funding this place, is maybe the biggest slap in the face to LA locals in all of this. Union Station and their silly little trains are no match for the power of the automobile in Southern California. This Chevron knows California's train infrastructure is no competition. They know exactly what everyone hopping off the train at Union Station wanting to spend a weekend in Los Angeles is gonna do. They're gonna come crawling over no matter the price. But just imagine, for a second, an LA where it's the other way around, where Alameda Street isn't 7 lanes wide, but 2, with protected bike and pedestrian pathways on either side, and streetcars flowing through the center. Imagine an LA where Union Station isn't the whimpering fart that it is, but rather a grand and towering symbol, the western hub of America's industrious high-speed rail network. One complete with local light rail lines so thorough you can get to LAX from anywhere in the city hassle-free. I couldn't help but spend a lot of time here during my field research for this video. Union Station was destined for greatness, but hampered by the sudden explosion of the automobile industry in Southern California. If only. A video all about the past, present, and future of LA Union Station coming soon, so make sure you're subscribed if you don't want to miss out on that. So what can the Chevron on East Cesar E. Chavez Ave and Alameda Street teach us, broadly speaking, about gas prices in the US? If nothing else, it tells us that this could easily be the reality in every gas station in Los Angeles, and even the country. With the flip of a switch, just as it happened in 2022 and 2023, gas stations all across California could simultaneously bring their prices up this high, and we just have to take it on the chin. There's no way around it. Especially here in LA, gas prices go up and down, but mostly up, and we all have no other choice but to fill up and wish it was different. America really needs to get off its ass and get serious about its rail infrastructure. If only we could have the LA that they had 100 years ago. Imagine that. I'll see you next week from fourth place.